Hello to the listeners of this presentation and a warm welcome to all the participants who engaged in this study. My name is Alex Beevers, and over the past 18 months, I have completed a quantitative research study to answer the question, what services can occupational therapists offer to adults with severe myalgic encephalomyelitis? The presentation outlines the study design, the outcome and findings, as well as the implications for occupational therapy and additional research. This study was completed as an honours project at Australian Catholic University for the discipline of occupational therapy. It was supervised by Julie Hughes and Wendy Milgate. The team was also joined by Rachel Makepeace, who has a lived experience of severe ME and advised our study. I, Alex Beevers, investigated the research question using a quantitative research methodology, while our co-student researcher Nicole Roudenko completed a qualitative study. ME is a chronic neurological disease that is not well understood because the cause is not known and it is misdiagnosed as chronic fatigue syndrome. The hallmark symptom of ME is post-exertional neuroimmune exhaustion. PENI is a severe and prolonged reaction to activity. It disrupts the body's ability to respond appropriately to physical or mental activity and triggers extreme exhaustion and the symptoms presented here on this slide. The International Consensus Primer is the diagnostic tool for ME and contains a series of questions related to the symptoms experienced by the individuals. The ICP classifies ME into three categories, with people with moderate symptoms having 50% reduction in activity. Those with severe symptoms are mostly housebound, and people with very severe symptoms are mostly bedbound and require assistance with daily functions. Across international and Australian literature, there is little investigation and understanding of the impact of severe ME on the functioning of adults. Currently in Australia, there is no treatment guidelines or really defined role for occupational therapists to follow when working with adults with ME. This study aimed to fill a research gap and investigate the activity and participation limitations and quality of life of adults with severe and very severe classifications of ME. This investigation used the framework of the International Classification of Functioning, Disability and Health model, as it provided a universal method of presenting our findings to occupational therapy and other allied health disciplines. Our goal was to use this information to inform therapists on important avenues to provide assessment and intervention to adults with severe ME. This study was a cross-sectional online questionnaire design using purposive snowball sampling techniques. Ethics approved the study in February, and the questionnaire was online from March to June in 2023. We recruited participants by posting advertisements and questionnaire links on social media support pages, as this was the most suitable way to access our population given the degree of their illness. To be eligible for this study, participants had to answer the ICP and meet a diagnosis of severe or very severe ME, reside in Australia, and be aged over 18 years. The questionnaire was divided into 3 sections and included 2 standardized assessments from the World Health Organization. Participants first answered a series of demographic questions to help the researchers understand and summarize the group of participants who contributed to this study. The second section included questions from the World Health Organization Quality of Life Breath, which was used to understand the quality of life of the participants. The WHO Qual Breath provides an overall quality of life score and total scores in the domains of social, environmental, psychological, and physical health. The third section involved answering the questions of the World Health Organization Disability Assessment Schedule to understand the difficulties people with severe ME face in completing daily activities. The WHO-DAS provides an overall disability score and total scores in the domains of life activities, mobility, getting along with others, participating in society, self-care, and cognition. The data was analysed using SPSS software and assistance from an ACU statistician. The World Health Organization assessments were calculated using codes provided in their manuals. Descriptive statistics summarized the demographic data and the domain and total scores of the World Health Organization assessments. A Spears-Monroe correlation analysis explored the relationship between activity, participation, and quality of life. And an independent samples t-test determined whether there were score differences between the severe and very severe classification groups. Out of the 170 responses, 108 were eligible for data analysis. This was far more than the initial goal of receiving 30 responses. The sample characteristics aligned with other studies, with the majority of the participants identifying as female and as not employed, while the duration of illness was averaged at 10 years. Of the participants, 71 self-reported having severe ME and 37 very severe ME. However, the independent samples t-test revealed that there were no clinically significant differences between the scores of these two classification groups. This suggested that adults classified as severe, who were mostly housebound, have similar functional outcomes and quality of life scores as those classified as very severe and are mostly bedbound. The HUDAS scores range from 0 to 100, with higher scores indicating a greater level of impairment in functioning in day-to-day activities. Participants in our study showed severe disability across impairments across all activity and participation domains. Their capacity to perform daily activities is limited, especially in completing household tasks and activities involving mobility and physical movements like walking and stair climbing. The WHO-QOL-BREF domain scores range from 0 to 100, and lower scores indicate lower quality of life. The WHO-QOL-BREF showed participants experienced very poor to poor quality of life, and as you can see here, all 4 health domains are significantly low. The correlation analysis between the WHO-QOL-BREF and the HUDAS found that the overall disability score reduced the quality of life. This was expected given that high levels of disability reduces capacity to engage in daily activities and daily life roles. The correlation analysis also found that limitations in mobility and social participation significantly contributed to the reduced quality of life of our participant group. Additionally, we found that the HUDAS domain, getting along with others, impacted the social health domain of the WHO-QOL-BREF. Another unexpected finding was that adults with severe ME's total disability score, capacity to socialize and participate in society was significantly impacted by the environmental domain of the WHO-QOL-BREF. To understand the environmental impacts in more depth, we conducted an additional descriptive analysis on each item of the WHO-QOL-BREF to identify the items that participants scored in the lowest satisfaction. In the environmental domain, access to leisure, suitable healthcare, and finances were significantly low, whilst in the activity and participation domain, the ability to work, complete daily activities, mobilize, and engage in one's sex life was significantly low. The following implications for occupational therapy I will discuss have been adopted from international guidelines for working with ME. These guidelines are not specific to occupational therapy because the effectiveness of intervention with this population has yet to be studied. However, the significantly reduced ability to complete activities and participate in society of the severe ME group in this study really highlights the importance of occupational therapy involvement with this population. Occupational therapists have the opportunity to improve activity engagement through implementation of fatigue management, functional training, and activity adaptation. Therapists have potential to improve people with severe ME's participation in society using vocational rehabilitation, activity adaptation, education, and assisting their access to support services. The environment was shown to greatly impact the quality of life of Australians with severe ME in our study. Currently, people with ME are not recognised under the National Disability Insurance Scheme as having a disability impairment and tackle extreme hurdles to gain access to NDIS. As occupational therapists working within the NDIS, it is our role to advocate for individuals with severe ME to become participants. Accessing NDIS may improve their access to home modifications and assistive technology to enhance functioning in their daily activities, while also providing access to support services to enhance their participation in community and life roles. Future implications for this study is the research team preparing the current research for publication in a journal article and presenting these findings in conferences in 2024. There is also call for future research on the effectiveness of occupational therapy with severe ME to understand the potential that our interventions have on this population's quality of life and activity participation. I want to express my gratitude to Rachel Makepeace, whose personal experience with severe ME guided the development of this project. And a special thanks to the online ME and ME CFS communities and all the participants for their time and contributions. Lastly, I have to acknowledge the contributions of our ACU team for their guidance, support, and dedication to this project. Thank you for listening and joining in for this presentation today to discuss the findings of our research project. There will be more updates in future.